Our responsibility to educate people to be leaders is to really integrate, to be able to put together, to be able to make sense out of a highly complex pattern. So we've got to create in our leaders of the future a sense of wonder and create in them the capacity to be masters of doubt and uncertainty, and to have next steps to take, knowing that we don't know and moving ahead. Those are things in an educational system. And we can also teach them a thing called accountability and responsibility. The best organizations do that.
I think people talk about leadership and they focus on the external elements of leadership. My experience is leadership is an intense inner journey. And it's an inner journey that you can be CEO of PayPal or CEO of Nike's. You and I both know the learning never stops. In fact, if anything, it becomes more important.
Saya sedih kerana Tun Razak adalah seorang yang saya pandang cukup tinggi. Kalau tak sabit Tun Razak, saya tak jadi Perdana Menteri. Tunku dah buang saya. Tapi Tun Razak bagi saya balik. Akhirnya saya jadi Perdana Menteri. Saya terhutang budi kepada Tun Razak.
Quo Vadis, where are you marching, Mahathir, when you have no mentor to guide? The answer might be nowhere, but the story told otherwise. The second Prime Minister of Malaysia, Tun Razak, passed away on January the 14th, 1976. Dr Mahathir had lost not only a leader but also a mentor. All this while, he took the solace under the guidance of Tun Razak, who had shown him the way up to leadership. As a mentor, Tun Razak did not only influence the events to ease Dr Mahathir's way up to leadership, but also showed him the way through wisdom. Now, with the passing of his mentor, everything is going to be uncertain. The lobbying and campaigning for the now vacant post of Deputy Prime Minister went on for several months. Frankly, I did not think I had much of a chance. I was the Vice President who had won the position with the lowest number of votes, and was also still stuck with the image of being a Malay ultra. This made me popular with Malay voters, but caused some worry in the Chinese educationists. The day Tun Hussein was supposed to announce his choice of Deputy Prime Minister, I went to see him to tell him that I was going to Kluang in Johor to visit a school. Perhaps I was hoping that he would indicate something, that he would ask me not to go as he would be announcing my appointment as Deputy Prime Minister. But he was stony-faced and said nothing. This extract described the anxious moment of Dr Mahathir waiting for Tun Hussein's decision to select his deputy. The story behind was far more inspiring. It was related to Dr Mahathir's journey from early days of his readmission into UMNO in March 1972 up to his appointment as the fourth Deputy Prime Minister of Malaysia. From this extract, we could learn to 1. Analyze the situation and the selection process for the Deputy Prime Minister under the premiership of Tun Hussein. 2. Evaluate the leadership quality of each candidate vying for the post. 3. Justify the selection of Dr Mahathir based on his leadership skills and quality. The first learning outcome will bring the learners to learn all events, facts and figures related to Dr. Mahathir's early political experience since his readmission into UMNO in 1972 and the whole political scenarios between 1972 to 1976. The second learning outcome will enable the learners to explore further the biographical history of each candidate and evaluate their leadership quality and skills based on proper leadership standard. The third learning outcomes will enable the learners to explore specifically Dr. Mahathir's leadership quality and skills that prevail over others and to propose the best leadership model for future leadership lesson. The diagnostic phase. This phase of learning is also called problem identification or inquiry phase or process. One of the many diagnostic approaches in problem-based learning is called FILA or FACTILA, the approach often used in medical studies. FILA approach consists of facts, ideas, learning issues, and action plan, whereas FACTILA approach is the extension of FILA with one additional step called terms. In this simulation, we are going to use a FACTILA approach. Step 1 to identify the facts from the problem. Step 2 to identify the terms and conduct the cross-reference. Step 3 to generate ideas from the facts. Step 4 to generate learning issues. Step 5 to plan for self-directed learning. Step 1, identify the facts from the problem. The first step is to identify the facts from the problem. The most convenient way to identify facts is to divide the problem into manageable and easy to understand statements or particulars from the problem scenario. Based on the above problem trigger, we could examine and explore the problem through the diagnostic process of FACTILA. The problem should be separated into manageable parts. This problem trigger contains three main parts of facts as listed below. Fact 1, the lobbying and campaigning for the now vacant post of Deputy Prime Minister went on for several months. Fact 2, frankly, I did not think I had much of a chance. I was the Vice President who had won the position with the lowest number of votes and was also still stuck with the image of being a Malay ultra. This made me popular with Malay voters but caused some worry in the Chinese educationists. Fact number 3, the day Tun Hussein was supposed to announce his choice of Deputy Prime Minister, I went to see him to tell him that I was going to Kluang in Johor to visit a school. Perhaps I was hoping that he would indicate something, that he would ask me not to go as he would be announcing my appointment as Deputy Prime Minister. But he was stony-faced and said nothing. Step number 2, identify the terms and conduct the cross-reference. The second step is to identify the terms, including important terminologies, abbreviations, unique phrases, proper names, or any strange or difficult to understand words. Learners will apply a cross-reference to dictionaries, thesaurus, or encyclopedias, or any other related sources instantly. Below is a list of terms identified from the above problem trigger and the result of cross-reference. 1. The lobbying. 2. Campaigning. 3. Deputy Prime Minister. 4. Vice President. 5. Number of votes. 6. Malay ultra. 7. Malay voters. 8. Chinese educationists. 9. Tun Hussein. 10. Kluang. 11. Johor. 12. Stony-faced. To get a quick explanation on each of these terms, phrases, and proper names, learners should conduct cross-reference from dictionaries, thesaurus, encyclopedias, or any related sources. For instance, the word lobbying, the cross-reference to the dictionaries could explain this word, such as a discipline within public relations where the general intention of the activity is to inform and influence public policy and law. Lobbyists are practitioners who execute, plan, and sustain efforts to deliver specific objectives within this broad profile of activity. Further investigation could reveal the related discipline areas such as political science, leadership, public relations, organizational behavior, and psychology. Step 3. Generate ideas from the facts. The third step is to generate ideas or hypotheses from the facts. At this point, learners should be able to relate their prior knowledge to the facts and propose new ideas to describe their understanding upon the facts. The ideas might be something closely related to the facts or interconnected in some way or another. Ideas or hypothesis generation is a crucial step in the diagnostic process. Learners working in a group engage in higher order thinking activities through discussion, argumentation, and sometimes debates and disputes to come into the conclusion. Prior knowledge and skills are crucially important and helpful. Based on the facts identified above, we could generate as many as ideas or hypotheses to expand our understanding upon the problem. For instance, from fact number 1, the lobbying and campaigning for the now vacant post of Deputy Prime Minister went on for several months. The ideas could be: 1. The post of the Deputy Prime Minister was vacant. 2. There are several candidates for the post. 3. The Prime Minister is having problems to decide and select the best one. 4. The candidates seem to take lobbying and campaigning process seriously. Viewers are welcome to list some more ideas from each fact identified previously. Please refer to the discussion in chapter 6 of my book. As learners, we should not limit hypotheses while working in a group. We should take some time to expand the hypotheses as broad as they could and then continue to evaluate the most appropriate related ideas based on our previous knowledge and understanding of the facts. Again, 2 hits better than 1. Step 4. Generate learning issues. A better understanding of the connection between facts and ideas is useful for the next step to generate the learning issues. Each idea should trigger the learners to constantly question what they need to learn further. Learners should learn how to ask good questions related to each idea. A good question will lead to proper learning issues related to the problem trigger. Learners could use the Socratic questioning approach, 5 whys technique, or any other questioning techniques deemed to be appropriate for expanding the learning issues. The technique should use open rather than closed question. Closed question will usually end with the answer yes or no. Open question, on the other hand, will lead to a hypothetical answer and require a further explanation as well as a learning exploration. At this point of the inquiry process, learners should be able to identify the knowledge gap between what they already knew, which is the known, and what they did not know, which is unknown, and what they should learn further, which is the learning issues. Learning issues comprise the multidisciplinary nature of the problem. It was well known to us that every problem in the world is naturally multifaceted and made of various interconnected questions and requires a multidisciplinary solution. For instance, these are among the learning issues that could be generated from fact number 1 and ideas listed. Fact number 1, the lobbying and campaigning for the now vacant post of Deputy Prime Minister went on for several months. Idea 1, the post of Deputy Prime Minister was vacant. The learning issues are: 1. What were the important events that led to the vacancy of the DPM post? 2. How was the status of DPM in Malaysia's federal constitution? 3. Why the post of DPM important? 4. What are the job specification of a DPM? Idea number 2. There are several candidates for the post. The learning issues are: 1. How were the candidates identified? 2. Why were they considered as potential candidates? 3. What is the relationship between the DPM post and the political party post? 4. Why a certain candidate considered better than others? Idea number 3. The Prime Minister is having problems to decide and select the best one. The learning issues are: 1. What criteria should the Prime Minister use? 2. What was the Prime Minister's thinking about the candidates? 3. Who was the most preferred candidate in the list? 4. Why was the candidate chosen and others not? Idea number 4. The candidates seem to take lobbying and campaigning process seriously. The learning issues are: 1. How serious are lobbying and campaigning process went? 2. Who did what in his campaign? 3. What was the response of other party leaders and members? 4. What took the Prime Ministers so long to decide? Viewers are welcome to generate more learning issues from the facts and ideas identified. Please refer to the discussion in chapter 6 of my book. These learning issues are the result of the initial diagnostic process. In no way they are complete or comprehensively represent the overall learning issues. They are the list of the problem-based learning experience generated through the piloting process. This process involves the minimum level of estimation to facilitate the learning and meet the assessment requirement. readers and viewers are welcome to work in a group and through a rigorous problem diagnosis, generate better ideas and more appropriate learning issues. Of course, two hits better are better than one. Step 5. Plan for self-directed learning. Having identified and listed the learning issues, learners should be able to plan for their self-directed learning exploration. The process of planning for self-directed learning exploration called action plan. Action plan is the final step in the diagnostic phase. The success of PBL process very much depends on the readiness of the learners to explore the question posed in the learning issues. In-depth investigation upon the learning issues through rigorous debates and argumentation will strengthen the knowledge acquisition and develop a new perspective upon the issues. At the highest level of learning outcomes, the learners might be able to create a new body of knowledge.